Yeah, this that's our intro music, a bit loud. So we've been offline for about 2.5 weeks now. So imagine we start a podcast and launch 2 episodes, and then we take a 2.5 week break, thanks to me.
Well,
Uh,
I doubt there's going to be lots of people
well, this is
going.
it. I doubt
Where's
anyone missed us, but you never know.
yeah?
You never
I
know.
mean, there's poor people refreshing on YouTube.
This
Where's the
is
next
it.
one?
This is it. Not living their lives exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, this podcast, Oldhombre podcast. Thank you for being here, whoever you are. It's about business, retirement, and work life in no given order. Right? It's three subjects that Andrew and I seem to always talk about. We ain't touched retirement yet in the last two
No,
episodes.
no,
We
I
probably
know.
won't today either, but it will come. It will come
It
because
will come. It
we're
will come.
honest. We're
I
honestly.
probably will retire by the time it does get round to it.
With the way the economy is going. But yeah, that's a different story for a different day. So yeah, let's kick this off.
Sure.
Again, thank you for coming.
Um,
Yeah, Andrew, guess what?
Sound effects.
I'm slowly building it, right? We've got sound effects now.
Yeah, but we've got
Every
no logo. Where's
well,
our logo
no,
gone?
no, 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 no. Our logo's here. Our logo's here.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
worry. You
Oh,
can't
okay.
see it on your side, but
Yeah, it's there. Okay.
it's here, and this is gonna get better. But as you can tell, I've now added sound effects, so don't be alarmed if all of a sudden I start putting a sound effects halfway through you making a point.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, like I was saying before, I've been gone for about 2.5 weeks, and I was in Colombia, Andrew. You know this, but for the
I
sake of
notice. I notice. I'm very jealous. Very, very jealous. Especially seeing some of the pictures and talking to you, looking at the background. Yeah, it looks like an amazing place.
yeah, it's been brilliant, and I actually came with some lessons. Like every single time I go, so just for whoever's listening, every year, um, I've made this commitment to go back to Colombia every year because on my mum's side, it's my heritage, and well, after she passed away, I just thought, what better way to be close to my roots and my family than to go back to her home city and visit every year. And yeah, this year was a big eye opener, Andrew,
Yeah.
because obviously, you go on holiday. Again, we're two sales guys. We think about business a lot. You can never ever log off completely from your work life because the one thing about sales, not that we're trying to play the tiniest violin or whatever, right, is you can't control when people are communicating with you. You spend a
Yeah.
lot of effort trying to get customers' attention and trying to get people to evaluate your products, and you can be in front of your desk a whole month trying to get engagement with people, right? And then you go on holiday, and boom, the email that you was waiting for gets to you, and so you're always thinking about
Yeah.
this, but you're always thinking about new ideas, ways to come in the market. And Andrew, something that was very interesting when I was down there is I'm actually from a city called Cali,
Yep.
and
I know.
Cali is part of like it. There's a triangle of three really big important cities that move most of Colombia's GDP, right? So there's Bogota, which is the capital city. You
Yep.
have Cali,
Yep.
and then you've also got Medellin.
Right.
And Medellin, funny enough, I actually did get to go to Medellin as well. Like I ventured out because I've always gone to Cali. Cali's, I would say, is probably the third biggest city there. Cali's quite poor, right? It's not doing very well economically. It's really struggled to recover post cocaine trade.
Yep.
And I don't want to talk too much about the cocaine trade because I think Colombians are trying to shake that stereotype off themselves. But we have to admit that it's something that was part of our past. But
Yeah.
we've struggled in Cali. So there's been a lack of investment. The north is really like, it went from being quite a vibrant place to now being quite quiet. The streets are riddled with graffiti because there's been several protests, and economic confidence hasn't really recovered after COVID.
Well, I thought so. In my mind,
Yeah,
and I haven't been there, and
yeah,
hopefully someday soon I get to go to Colombia. In my mind, it was the land of dance.
yeah.
It was just, yeah, it was vibrant, it was musical, it was dancing, etc. But you're painting a different picture.
Well, yeah. I mean, the funny. Well, it's not funny. After COVID, obviously that hit everywhere,
Yeah.
and then On top of that as well, there was some political protests where basically they were trying to topple. They're trying to protest against the existing government,
Right.
and the way they did it was very much like the 2007 riots, London riots. Was it
Right.
2007? I can't remember what year it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. I know.
It probably wasn't 2007. It's probably 2011, whatever. But remember
Yeah.
when there was an innocent man that got shot, and then all of a sudden Leeds, London, everywhere they were all in unison, like vandalizing stuff. Colombia went through a similar experience, but I mean, we're talking grenades were launched.
Wow.
It was like proper warfare between civilian versus whatever the state, and Cali was one of the most affected areas. So it went through COVID and then it went through that, and it's only starting to come out of its shell again as a city.
Right.
But what made the trip interesting, I don't want to ramble on about Colombia, is that Medellin is actually one of the top 10, I think it's something like the UN called it one of the top 10 cities in the world, of top 13 cities in terms of recovery.
Right.
Its economy is vibrant. They've turned ghettos that were like dominated by Pablo Escobar into tourist attractions.
Yeah.
So there's a famous famous kind of shanty town, if you call it, where it's called Comuna 13, like Commune 13, where literally it's now full of tourists and people. Wait, I'll see if I can share a picture right now. So basically, as you can see, there's all these. This used to be a ghetto where Pablo Escobar used to do a lot of his business, etc., etc. Well, look, they've now the geography is very hilly, right? And this is where all the shanty towns were built, and they've now built staircases on the shanty towns with like electric stairs, so that people that are poor can go into the middle city as quickly as possible and tap into the economy.
Right.
So that's the reason why they initially did it, because they said, well, what makes a shanty town? Well, it's a lack of access to the economy, right? So what would happen if we just give them access to the city in a very easy way, so that they can still work decent paid jobs and still get home?
Yeah.
Because the first issue was, because they're all the way up here, it's going to take them 3 or 4 hours to get back into the center of the city. So you're already isolating a whole poor community from the vibrant part of the economy. So they built these escalators, and they also built these what's those, the transport with the wiring,
the overhead ones.
Yeah, what they called again? Come on, Andrew. They got them. The Emirates have them in the near the Millennium Dome. The wire carts, whatever you call them, right, from the transport system, just wire with a cart attached to it. So now they can reach the good jobs, but also because of that, well, people started just being a bit more affluent in these areas, and then it turned out that there was a big interest in, especially after Narcos and all this and all these shows, there was a big interest in tourists going up there. So they've invested a lot in policing, cleaned it up, Andrew, and it's gone from an absolute s-hole to a street that makes a lot of money. There's people that are paying, they're paying £10 to take a photo just from there, because you get the best views from the city. So it's been this success story that's even been discussed in the UN, of how you can turn a shanty town into a vibrant, like, mini economy. And it's just it's the stuff of heroes. So
I saw a program on TV. There were some positives and negatives around Medellin and Colombia, and we can talk about the negatives later. But positives was what you've described, and there was a really good bit where they went and they were recommended a meal cooked by a grandmother in her kitchen, and and this lady, 80s, late 80s, she was cooking this meal, and the beauty of Instagram or social media, she's run off her feet, the poor woman. She's literally run off her feet.
And that's the other thing as well. It's just made me realize the power of social media to drive economies. Like there's been so much investment from people, just that accessibility of being able to share where they live and whatnot. It's turned what used to be an absolute s-hole into a vibrant economy. Now, obviously, there's teething problems around that. When you get a big boost of tourism into a place, you get problems with prostitution. You get problems with all sorts of stuff, right? Same thing happened with Thailand. You know the game, right?
Well, that was the other thing on this program is they're saying that it's mimicking Thailand with that side of things.
Yeah.
And you know what, the program was terrible in a way that it was like blaming Colombia for not controlling it, etc. But then what about the US tourists?
Yeah.
That are packing the place, so it's supply and demand, right?
Exactly.
If there was no demand, there'd be no supply. So it's that.
It's a conundrum, right? But anyway, not to go too much into Colombia, the main thing that I noticed is just how can you, to have two big cities in one country with two aggressively distinct economies, you start asking yourself questions like, well, why this place and not the other place? And Andrew, one thing that I saw a lot was attitude, was just a big differentiator, right?
Yes.
When you spoke to people in Medellin, they were like, they have this whole can-do attitude of, look, we know the government's crap, but we have destiny in our own hands, and they're innovating. They give you're speaking to people like they're always planning the next business move. And they're like, look, our president's crap, but we're just gonna get it done, right? Let's run a business. Let's do this. We very much have power in our own hands, and that could be a result of their own environment as well. I don't know which one comes first. Does the environment come first and then the belief, or does the belief come first and then the environment? But it was just interesting to see that can-do attitude in Medellin. But then when you go to Cali, it was like, maybe the government may improve. It was very much giving the government the onus around the economy, and that was just very, very powerful for me, because I was in Medellin, and when I was speaking to people that were there about my personal situation, the challenges. Look, I've got this job. I've got this mortgage. I've got this. I've got that, and there's so much challenge. They saw opportunity. They were like, oh, but you could do this and you could do that, and oh no, you're really far ahead. Like, there's so much more that you could squeeze from your situation. Like you got plenty. It was this whole the glass is full attitude.
Yeah.
But then within the same 2.5 week period, I went back to Cali, right? Because I've got properties in Cali, and they were just like, oh yeah, it is going to be tough, and I just thought, wow, it's that difference in mindset,
It's interesting because as you were talking, I was sort of thinking of my background, which is Turkey. I was born there, and I've been back to see my mum quite a few times, as you know, Mencey, and it's very similar to Cali. Izmir is a beautiful city on the coast. It's where all the tourist airplanes land, and then they go out and do all the to the various resorts, etc., etc. But then you go into Izmir city and you sit down, you have a cup of tea, and you just chit chat. You speak to the guy next to you, usually because he wants a cigarette or something. And it's how are you? Oh, it's so tough. Blah blah blah. The government this and the government that, etc. And I'm thinking, it's 3:00 on a Monday.
Yeah.
Or a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Why are you sitting here having a cup of tea and moaning?
Yeah.
Well, surely there's something you should be doing. Surely there's something that you should be doing. But the great thing about it is that there are people, like you say, that think, sod this, I'm not going to get anything from the government.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and find it myself.
Yeah.
And you see the industry around it, and the tenacity and the imagination of things they're doing, and there's a lot of there's a lot of little industries popping up that before weren't there, and maybe it's because the people have been forced to do it, because all the attention is Istanbul. That's where the business happens.
Yeah.
Ankara is where all the politics happen.
Yeah.
And there are a few people that think differently, like you say, and go, right, well, you know what, I'm going to get myself out of this, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
You
and
know? I completely get what you're saying.
but to see that divided into cities, group
Yeah,
thinking, it's just crazy, right?
yeah,
And the other thing as well that I noticed, and Andrew, you know, because you always think back home and you say, okay, you know when you go on holiday and then you kind of get excited about somewhere where you are, and then you
yeah,
start thinking, I could live here, mate. Like this
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
this is
All
it.
the
I
time.
can get this done. Like, and then you start really doing these calculations and whatnot. Um, Andrew, it's incredible to see how much money is being made with very, very legacy ways of doing business.
Right.
Like, and that's what is blowing my mind. It's like the lack of regulation means you've got all these kind of people selling stuff on the street,
Yeah,
and some of them are making more money than the shops. So some people are, because they don't have that regulation in place to stop people from just selling stuff on the street, they're kind of
yeah,
squeezing the last drops of that lemon before the government figures out a way of wising up. But then I was also looking at like the traditional businesses, like not the traditional business, just your you know businesses in malls, and you can't get self-serve down there. Like there's no, they still
good.
don't have the screen systems, right?
Yeah,
And it got me thinking, like, I when we went from that transition of going into a restaurant, like fast food restaurant, be it McDonald's, KFC, whatever, it was really annoying to have to go all of a sudden to have to start using those screens,
yeah,
and then like just having to see half of that desk at the front desk be one half being divided into the delivery system, and the other half being like one person that might be taking some orders for whoever can't use the screen. And I was just like, this is horrible, you know, I hate this. Why didn't we go back to the same system? But Andrew, I must say, right, going back there and walking into a fast food restaurant and having to do a 15-minute queue to get my order in place made me realize that I've just ended up loving what I hate, what I thought I hated, which was those self-serve systems. Like it doesn't make any sense anymore, Andrew. Like I ended up walking away from at least 5 or 6 fast food chains purely because I couldn't be bothered to wait 5 minutes to make my order.
yeah.
Like just for me to have to queue, it wasn't really 5 minutes, more like 10, but you know, to have like these people at this queue, so do you want the mayo? Oh, let me explain to you what the mayo is. And just the abundance of stupid questions from customers about the meal when they could have, like, honestly, in the 15 minutes we were standing there, you could have read the bloody menu rather than having to wait to get to the front. And it just made me think, wow, like the way the till systems that we have here in the UK and across Europe, these self-serve till systems, the way they've really changed the game and the amount of money that's being lost down there. And I was just like, I could just go Colombia and start selling till systems. You know what I mean? Just to maximize what they're doing right now. I saw a lot of opportunities. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Right. So questions because I have to disagree. I'm sorry that I have to disagree. Maybe it's because of my age, right? But so let's just roll back on something you said a lot earlier with regards to being on holiday and working, you know, laptop, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was in my early 20s, I was in sales like I am now. I was selling office supplies and bits and pieces. My day started at 8:30. My day finished at 5:30.
Yeah.
There was no email, fax, mobile phone, etc., etc. It all finished. Yeah, started and finished. You had set days. You went on holiday. You were disappeared. You were not to be reachable, etc., etc. How did business work? Yeah, it waited. Yeah, that order waited, or you know, or somebody managed your incoming inquiries while you were away. You know, friend, colleague, whoever. And with things like, you know, the till systems, I get it. It can, you know, you don't want to wait. You just want to tick, 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 and you still have to wait to get your order. Yeah, because I still see it as a bottleneck. Yeah. I still see that orders are coming in, but it doesn't mean there's somebody cooking them any quicker. Right, so you're still waiting. Yeah. You just feel satisfied that your order is there, and now you're looking at a screen to see if your number comes up. So it'd be interesting to see if you're actually waiting any less. Yeah, as it reduced the wait time, and maybe it's, you know, skipped a step or something. But are we in that much of a hurry? Yeah, I dabbled years ago
Yeah.
with an online business. Yeah, I was selling, designer handbags, right? And it was pretty standard to wait 7 days for your delivery. Pretty standard. Yeah. Now, if that delivery isn't there by 10 a.m. the next day, you're online trying to track it. What's happened to us? What's happened to us that we want everything on demand? I don't get it. And I'm part of that on demand requirement now.
Yeah.
Whether
But
it's
this is my thing. I mean, I'm not really questioning whether we need it. I'm just saying it's hurting business, right? Because
yeah,
if you look at the city, people are going there as tourists, and they want their
yeah,
order quickly. So all I ended up doing was I just went, oh, sod this. I'll just go to the one that has a shorter queue, and I'll just change my preference of what I want to eat because I just want to eat,
yeah,
right? Because I've got
yeah,
my family members there just waiting, not talking to me, and
yeah.
I'm here on a bloody queue. And that's what it is. It's just that transfer. It's not so much that I wanted the order quicker. It's just I wanted to transfer my time from having to stand there in the heat to just being able to
Yeah,
sit there and talk to my family. It's just that's all that's all it is, right? But you're right,
yeah.
because I recently watched a talk about Uber. It was this marketing guy. I wish I had the link. Maybe I can find it in a bit. But he was just saying that you see with Uber, the taxis didn't arrive quicker. What
No,
the only change that happened was you could just understand how long your taxi was going to take, and like you said,
yeah.
just have that confidence that the taxi was coming. That's it. It's not so much that we always want things quicker. We just want the predictability of it. That's it.
Yeah.
Even if you tell us it's
Yeah.
going to be 30 minutes, all right, cool. I can plan my 30 minutes, and that's really
Yeah.
the power of it. But with
That's
that,
that's a good analogy. With the Uber thing, I have to say, yeah, you're 100% right there. It's being able to look at your screen. Oh yeah, it's only a minute away, or it's 5 minutes away, and having that knowledge, and whereas with a taxi, you stand on a street corner. Is there
yeah,
going to be one coming? Oh, there's one
yeah.
coming. Oh, it's got someone in,
Exactly.
or whatever. Yeah,
Exactly. That's all it is. That's all it is.
yeah,
And so it got me thinking, wow, there's a massive need for self-service, self-checkout, all of that, right? There is self-checkout in the supermarkets down there, but it's not as robust as it is down here, right? And especially in the restaurant business. And then obviously I'm giving a look through BBC whilst I'm there, just trying to figure out what we're going to talk about and what the world is saying. And then all of a sudden I come across this article, Andrew. It's BBC News article. Have supermarkets reached peak on self scan? And I thought, what? Like, isn't that a coincidence, right? So basically, after years of encouraging shoppers to scan their own groceries, some supermarkets are moving back to traditional tills. What they're saying is, there's basically Asda are moving more towards just normal checkouts with staff. Morrison's are saying they've gone too far with that initiative, and they're saying that there's debate around having stores now that are just so understaffed. There's just no one to like help people because we thought that shops were going to be running themselves, and I find it kind of interesting that two of I think the 5 or 6 big supermarket chains are now thinking that people are valuable again. Do you know what I'm trying to say in their store experience? And something that I had completely overlooked are things like this, right? Obviously, I knew it was going to be old people that were going to complain about it because obviously, like older people, they get riddled by the touchscreen technology. And I'm going to be honest with you, Andrew. Most of the time when I'm on those self-checkouts, half of them have problems anyway. Like there's one person there and they're just having to, like, it's a palaver. It's an absolute palaver. It's not as quick.
it doesn't work. It doesn't work. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't
It
work.
works, but it's not as quick as you'd think it is, right? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No.
Like there's a lot of bottlenecks that are created on those self-checkouts. So that's my gripe with it, right? The club card doesn't work. I'm not going to say what store, but it doesn't always work. there's always some issue with it, right? And not to mention if you just want to buy some alcohol, and then you're just there like in a bottleneck. So I knew old people were gonna complain, but then someone said something here like, goes, as a deaf person, I can't hear the beep when I scan the items, right? So they get in a tangle when things don't scan properly. I didn't imagine just going completely, self checkout mode, and these are some of the challenges. So yeah, I think it's interesting, right, to see that there's a balance here. So have we gone too far on the self checkout thing? Right now we're talking AI replacing things. We've had supermarkets that you might not even need to scan your items, right? Like the idea is that there's meant to be this big roof of the unthinkable that can be done in the retail space. But are we now coming across that kind of chasm where it's like, actually technology is not really going to help the buying decision anymore in terms of robots and all that type of stuff? People are people. What do you think,
Yeah.
Andrew? Talk to me.
I've got really strong opinions on self checkouts.
Right.
Hate them with a passion. I won't use them unless I've got one thing or two things or whatever. It in the old days, you used to have your checkout, and then you used to have your low items, one or two, and it was like the speed one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see how the two would compare, the self checkout and the speed one, etc.
Right.
I think self checkouts are benefiting no one except the supermarkets. Yeah, by replacing salaries, national insurance payments, health payments, holiday payments, etc., etc. And I wouldn't mind, but reduction of cost is not being passed down. Yeah, it's making no difference to pricing. It's um, it's it's disconnecting that customer and supermarket or supplier relationship that you used to have. You used to walk, hi, oh, you bought some dog food. What dog have you got? Oh, that's lovely. I've got so and so, and blah blah blah, and occasionally people, do you want help packing those? If they was an older person, you want help packing those. That's what I recognise supermarkets to be a place where not only can you get everything you want in a
Yeah.
convenient location,
Right.
but get that added value, as in, a little bit of service.
Yeah.
That's disappeared. If you go to certain supermarkets now, the audacity and the sheer, well, it just makes me angry, is, we want to get away from things like plastic wrapped fruit and vegetables, blah, 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 right? And so great, you can buy them loose, but you have to pay £1 for a little bag to put them in, and stuff like that. I know we're straying off the subject, but I still believe that the ones that will win are the ones that you've mentioned there, where they think, hang on, we've gone too far. Let's go back to adding a bit of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, adding a bit of value. I mean, there are some premium supermarkets out there, yeah, that are a bit pricier, but people go there because of that interaction.
It's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, Andrew. Go on.
I will go to one supermarket occasionally, and only is because I'm in the area, and they will say good morning. How's your day going? They will scan it in a proper manner.
Mm.
Yeah, they'll check items if there's a bag is a bit missing, or this one's. Do you want me to change this? They'll put it in your bag for you. Wish you a good day. You pay them, right? Now take that or flip that on its head. You go into a supermarket with your trolley. Yeah,
Speak to no
you
one.
buy a little you buy a little barcode. You pick up a barcode scanner. You go round. You scan your items. You get to the end. You pay. Walk out. What value is that supermarket giving you?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, uh, and
Well,
I just think
customer service
they
is
have
customer service is no longer there. It's done.
no,
There
not
is
at all.
no customer service. It's just
No,
no. I'm with
yeah,
you. I'm with you on that.
yeah. It's what it is that not only have we taken over all of the big retail areas
Yeah.
and we forced the smaller vendors to close down,
Yeah.
but we've also taken over the local shops and called them so and so
Express.
local or
Yeah.
so and so
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah.
So you've, Mr. Customer, you've got no choice. We can
Yeah.
do what we like.
Yeah. That's a good point. And you know what? That got me thinking. All right. So Andrew, is it What you trying to tell me that companies are just making these decisions based on these gut feels, right? Of course not. They're there for the
No.
bottom line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it got me digging a little bit, and started thinking to myself, okay, well, I don't think Morrison's just woke up and started listening to 65-year-olds.
No. Absolutely
Okay,
not.
they've obviously looked at their business and thought, nah, hang on a minute, you know, this is affecting the bottom line. So again, I don't know if maybe Google's starting to do its job for me, but then I saw this video about why Starbucks is struggling. So I've always followed Starbucks purely because it's always been one of these kind of poster child businesses for America, right? American coffee. You could almost say to some degree they created the bloody coffee index, right? Because they trade coffee as a commodity, and they've just advanced the coffee industry so much. And to see something, I mean, what's the date of this? The date of this is 3 weeks ago, right? So I was definitely in Colombia.
Yeah.
Why Starbucks is struggling? I went, hang on a minute, Starbucks struggling. Let's have a listen to this, right? And they've got several chapters here. So the challenge that they have, they've got the value wars. So basically pricing wars, and that's always going to be the case, Andrew. I mean, they created the pricing war with buying in bulk, and like a bit like Walmart did. So value wars, and then they've got unions and boycotts. We're not going to go into that. Workers' rights, and then they've got fixing its problems. But the bit that got me is this section here. This section here, this is the ex-CEO. I think he's been fired now. And funny enough, we can go on this in a different segment. This has been partially because he's actually forcing workers to only work during their allocated hours. And he said publicly, you can't send me emails outside of work. It best be important. This is the CEO, right? And then couple that with lowering profits. And then people start going, wait, hold on a second. You mean someone can't talk to you? Like you're warning people that they can only talk to you when it's super important. That's going to create bottlenecks of innovation, ideas. So you've got to be very, very careful what you're saying. But that's a different subject for a different day. This here, they've implemented very fast time delivery on orders through the apps, through making them quickly, all of that type of stuff. And it's not saving them, Andrew.
No.
So listen to this.
Cosmos. It had another issue, though, that was interesting. High rates of
Oh, I think that's a bit fast. Yeah, I got it on 1.5. I'll go on normal.
incomplete orders in the mid-teens on its mobile app, and mobile order and pay has become increasingly important for Starbucks. So people would hypothetically kind of put in an order, see the wait time, or perhaps see the price, and then not complete the order.
So young people or whoever it is, they're using the application. You can actually start ordering your coffee as you're walking to Starbucks. Great idea, right? So now you're lowering that wait time. It tells you how long it's going to take, but people are still leaving their Starbucks coffee in their, in their carts. They're not completing the transaction. So that's ultimate convenience, and they're still not completing their order, right?
Was ready in just 3 minutes. I've been at this exact same location before around the same time, and it has taken upwards of 15 to 20 minutes. So there's clearly a focus on lowering wait times and increasing efficiency.
That's because longer wait times have been a problem.
So this is so funny because it's actually giving you, this is the perfect kind of debate, right, that we were saying earlier on. It's like, do you make your buying decisions based on quickness and all that type of stuff? Do longer wait times affect sales? And I don't think the answer is as obvious as we would have thought it was, right?
Survey data shows that about 25% of Starbucks visitors say their wait time has gotten longer, up from about 16% just 2 years ago. In May, former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz took to...
So even though the applications are in place, things are not getting quicker. Things are not getting quicker, right?
LinkedIn to express his feelings about the company's second quarter earnings miss. He stressed the importance of coffee-forward innovation, as well as a reinforcement of being experiential, not...
Right. So now, the CEO's come back. Howard Schultz has come back after this CEO's been fired. Right. So this is May 2024, and basically he's now saying we got to go back to experiential and not transactional. So we're back to knowing the customer's name. We're back to. Do you remember Central Perk? the friend scenario where they used to sit down and used to go into Starbucks and used to sit there with your big massive coffee mugs and chill and lounge and all that type of stuff. Mate, they went hyper focused on applications.
Yeah.
Hyper focused on creating hyper focused on getting drinks quickly to customers. It hasn't made a difference. It made a difference, but now it's flatlined. And now they're talking about experience again. Ain't that interesting?
You know what? I should be a CEO. I should be. I'm underappreciated because I've been saying this for years. I mean, for a long time now, saying that it's gone too far the other way. I think yes, absolutely. With regards to coffee, it is absolutely experience. It's the sitting down with your friends, or even on your own, doing the typical scenario with the person with their Apple open, tapping away at their keyboard, sipping a cup of coffee, no particular hurry in the world. They've tried to make coffee a fast commodity. They tried to make it, something that's just drink, move on, don't taste it, don't enjoy the ambience, don't enjoy the whole occasion. Coffee's not that.
No,
it's
about. It's meant to be for a business meeting. You sit down. My mum used to always say, "There's a magic around coffee. It brings people together. You sit down, you nestle on the aroma of the roasted coffee around you, and conversation flows as the cup flows." I don't know why my mum was so poetic about coffee, but she was like, obviously maybe the Colombian thing, I don't know, but you're right. And you know what, Andrew? I'm sorry, I don't want to steal your point, but
no.
What's the issue? Well, if you strip it down to its bare minimum of making a cup of coffee as soon as possible, application, you end up with value wars.
Yeah.
The only differentiation now is
more than half of the market is composed of small business shops, and it's only
the only thing that happens now is you're exposed to coffee places that do offer a human experience, and now you're now competing with McCafe. You know, the Mac Cafe, which is McDonald's thing, is now taking significant market share away from Starbucks.
Yeah.
Mate, the coffee in McDonald's used to taste like dog vomit.
I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. But it's nice now.
It's changing now. Yeah, it's nice now. And there's no differentiation between that and a Starbucks. So you're just gonna go for price.
Yeah.
They've shot themselves in the foot, Andrew. They've shot themselves in the foot.
Absolutely.
And I think businesses aren't doing it. Businesses aren't starting to consider human interaction now, because they can wrap it around that way, right? But it's coming back to that point where we were talking about this in the last episode. Things don't look appealing anymore. They stripped the art away from retail. They're now stripping away the people away from retail, and they think it's gonna be the bare minimum that's gonna get price. I'm not sure, Andrew.
No.
It's interesting.
I'm sorry, but if it had carried on like this, it would literally be you walk past and they throw the coffee at you once you've tapped your card. It's not about that. It's about whiling away an hour. Let's face it. You've got an hour. What should we do? Let's go and have a coffee.
Yeah.
My favourite thing to do with my wife, is let's just go and have a coffee. Nothing else. Yeah. And that's disappearing. And I'll be honest, I haven't been into Starbucks for absolute ages. I don't really like their coffee very much. But this also explains, like you said, some of those artisan coffee shops, the ones that have got like either bare furniture where people are sitting there relaxing, talking, having 1 cup, 2 cup, etc. And I think they've jumped on a fad.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The app works in a lot of industries, a lot of scenarios where time is critical and time is important. But there are certain things where that human element is really important.
Absolutely, and just quickly to drive the point home, you got companies like Wingstop now, right? Where they still have the people there. You can use the self, but people are actually chilling out in the restaurants with their friends. They're watching sports, right? And it's these guys are taking market share away from McDonald's. Look, like it's now 50. Their earnings are increasing 30%, 25% growth. We're talking serious numbers. These guys, right? You've also got companies like Chick-fil-A that still close on a Sunday because
Yeah.
they want their workers to be fresh for Monday. Also, they're also a religious organization. You know, they're quite Christian, right?
There's a
But
toy shop
but
in the UK that's never hasn't opened on Sundays since ever.
right.
Because he's religious. He believes that people need that. They're doing fine. They've been
And you know
going
what
for
they
years.
said? You know what they said? And I'm not going to show the documentary, but the CEO was saying, well, guess what? On a Sunday, people build up their appetite for us. And I can't wait till it opens up on Monday, and sales boost on Monday. They've actually made Monday a good day for sales. It's just it's incredible, man. I just think there's different ways to skin the cat. Sorry for the saying, but there's different ways to really win in this market. And I just think everyone was going towards the lack of human interaction, apps that are quick. Oh, if the technology is quick, we'll make the money quick. And I just think
Mate,
opportunities have been
let's
opened.
take you and I. Let's
Yeah.
take you and I, right? And Mr. David, I won't say anymore, right? Meet up in London,
Right.
either at one of the different branded coffee shops, right? And we would sit there for a couple of hours ching magging,
Yeah.
putting the world to right, having what 5, 6 cups of coffee, So yes, we sat there for 2 hours. We've had 5 or 6 cups of coffee, whereas you've automated and put an app in. The person's won one cup of coffee and then sodded off.
Yeah.
Where's the win here? Yeah, the win is with the person that you've given the ambience, you've given that comfortable place to sit, and then they've enjoyed your coffee and they've gone back and got another one and gone back another one. It's not
Yeah, and
I don't know how to say.
the thing is, I think the competitive advantage of having these till systems was all about, we could serve more customers quicker. But then everyone got it. Everyone got the same till systems.
Yeah.
So it's like all it did was just spread bet that advantage. So it was no longer a differentiator. So now you go to a coffee shop and you're like, well, I can just get this anywhere within a couple of minutes. So you don't really prioritize anymore. And now it's just like when you walk past a coffee shop and it looks like it's got people in it and people are sitting down and you could see them drink their coffee, you go, you know what? I'll go into that one. So I just think it's diverse, which leads me to the next thing. So on the seems like the theme here is the speed of transactions, as a business differentiator, and the speed of products being given to customers versus everything else that can be done, right? Which is more human led, right? And I've come across this company called Shein or Shine. Everyone's got debates over
Shein,
Shine, whatever, right? It's basically over the last, I think, 5 or 6 years, zoomed past all of the high street retailers. Apparently, it's now got it had a 100 billion evaluation, which would be the equivalent of Gap, H&M, Zara combined, right? It's owned by a Chinese, Chinese board, right?
Yeah.
And basically what they did was their manufacturing was in China, as you know, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
And then what they did was they applied. In China, they collect data from everything, right? The data laws aren't that robust as they are here, right? So down there, they've been able to build incredible data models. They've been very innovative in the way they analyze data. So rather than they create the organization for the Chinese market, they got the principles of all of that data analysis and applied it to the external market.
Right.
So they've leveraged marketing through Instagram, Facebook, all that type of stuff. They took some part of like the Nike model, where rather than having one manufacturer hub, they just have different suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've put that in even more steroids, right? By saying we'll only create 100 of each item, and then if it sells out quickly, we'll ramp up the thing. So their failure rate is very, very, very slim, and they are perfectly located geographically to serve that model because it's like their manufacturers are a stone throw away, and everyone wants to work with them. They've built something very, very unique that no one can really compete against. Their speed on manufacturing, creating everything is 3 times faster than the likes of Zara, H&M, or
Well, the price points surely to manufacture 100 of one item is going to be really expensive.
No, because the point is the manufacturers now know that if they have a successful product with Shein, the orders just go over the roof. Right? It starts with 100, but that's on them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So they give Shein the priority, and then they go, right, we're a Shein list. Boom, this could be the you know, our business for the next 10 years. That's the way they see it, right? So they've really learned how to leverage those relationships and their geographic locations for manufacturing, and paired that up with fast marketing, fast delivery. Oh my God, it's an incredible, it's called ultra fast fashion. Not fast fashion, ultra fast fashion. But there's challenges. So let's delve into this, right? So we'll go into how they've done it. So just so you don't have to trust my word for it, we'll start off with this.
Scrolling through Shein's website can feel endless.
We offer thousands of new items per day.
But Shein only initially produces 100 to 200 units of each new product.
Shein's designs originate with Shein designers and with our Shein X third-party designers.
As customers browse those designs, Shein has technology.
Now, you've heard it, right? However, what's interesting here, right? So what's happened with them is, through the COVID boom, everyone started buying their stuff. Quality is obviously a questionable thing, because when you have so many different manufacturers, and you got, you know, from designing to creating to shipping, 3-day turnaround. 3-day turnaround, Andrew, right? These things have served to give it its advantage. So it's now valued at 66 billion. But now it's coming across its first scandals, right? Number one, turns out that they've been using, well, what did he say before? How many designs did he say they do a day? Let's go back to what he said. All right,
100, 200 units
we'll go back again.
Only initially produces 100 to 200 units of each new product.
Shein's designs originate with Shein designers and with our Shein X third-party designers.
And don't say what. Stop there.
What?
Stop there.
Yeah.
Okay. But go back a little bit to the photo of the monitor, the laptop. There. Right. I'm sorry. Right. And I was selling those two items 15 years ago.
Right.
So there's something.
Well, I'm gonna come back to it. Just give me 1 second. I want to get back to. We offer thousands of new items per day. Right. So fast fashion turns out, because I've been, you know me, I'm a fashionista, Andrew. I'm known to be.
I can tell, mate.
So it turns out, Zara and Mango and all that, they used to go to the catwalks, right?
Yeah.
And they used to look at proper fashion, right? The catwalks, and then they used to not rip it off, but change designs. So the idea was like within a couple of weeks or a month, you could end up looking like a catwalk designer without having to pay the catwalk prices, right?
Yeah.
So it created a whole new market for disposable fashion, lots of ethical issues around it, but they became profitable around that. These lot, you just said we offer thousands of new items per day. Question number one, Andrew. Where the hell are they getting these designs from?
Thank you. Thank you. As I just said, I was selling those two items
well, guess
years
what,
ago.
Andrew, I'm going to put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Okay. It turns out, and this is where the devil in the detail is, in the same way they do data modeling to pick up information about their customers' expenditures and what they do, they're scanning, their algorithms are scanning Instagram, scanning all sorts of fashion bloggers, ripping off the designs, and then recreating that too to fulfill its endless scrolling of it. So imagine we're a designer, or we, we're fashionistas, because we are, Andrew.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. If it's got 100,000 likes and it's a fashionistas blog, they take that, send it over to one of these factories, make it, done, bish bash bosh, boom, out. It's on the website.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening here.
Yeah.
And then there are the controversies.
One of the downsides of using data is that it can sometimes see that, a particular blouse is wildly popular on a e-commerce platform, or what if they just recreate the blouse in a cheaper way?
Several smaller designers have taken to social media, alleging that Shein has stolen their designs.
This top, it's a knockoff of my self-lace cami to the T. It's exactly the same, and they're selling it for $10. This is the original design.
But it is
That's the original she made.
Yeah.
And they've admitted to this.
Yeah.
So do you remember when he said that, the American CEO representative or whatever, oh yeah, we've got the third party designers. That's this.
That's it.
That's this.
Yeah. Third party designers that don't get paid.
It's madness, Andrew. And they're only paying them once they get sued. It's copyright infringement. We're back to that whole adage of let's kill the industry. Let's suck the life out of every bloody... Mate, what is fashion? Fashion is you appreciating somebody else's expression of the way they dress. You're trying to commercialize it so much that it just doesn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's very... I don't know if you find that interesting.
I found that extremely interesting. And I'll be honest, thank you. I had heard of the company.
Yeah.
And I saw some reports on how well they were doing, but I never really looked at them and looked at their website. Yeah. And as I say, as you were playing that video, those two tops, I was selling... Long story short, I was in Hong Kong, going through the market, bought some stuff, and thought it'd be good for the wife, the children, etc. Looked at them and thought, no, these are too revealing, and sold them online. They went immediately. I thought, oh, I wanted something here, and I went back to the manufacturer and bought a whole range of stuff. And those two tops were some of my best sellers.
Yeah.
In the pink. And yet, no, there's no original designs there. And I know it's really difficult to do. And it's a given thing. Like, if Chanel brings out a design, then, normally you wait a year and there's a very similar outfit you can buy in, places, etc. But yeah, it's not that instant. I mean, it's not that instant.
I mean, it's applying something so instantaneous to something that it just doesn't make any sense anymore. Now, there's positive things. For example, they only make 100. So with Zara, they'll make like 10,000 in one go. And then what if it bombs? You end up with a load of rags in the ecosystem. So there's there's give and takes, but it just goes to show that there's some things that technology just accelerate too much, and then you end up just creating an old problem like child labor problems. Okay, we've got such high pressure now to create thousands and thousands of items a day that it's very impossible. I'm not going to blame them for it. They can't control all of their manufacturers and understand whether there's children there or not. But they've now...
Well, they're supposed to. They
it's
are
difficult at
to.
scale when you're trying to produce that level of speed. So we come back to the sweatshops in Bangladesh. We come back to... And, forgive me to Bangladesh if it no longer happens, right? But there was a case where a sweatshop in Bangladesh came to pieces and rubble and ended up crushing families and whatnot. So I just think... We've got to be very careful in the way we deploy technology, and are we going to end up recreating issues that happened in the past? And is this really actually beneficial? Like, is this really going to be sustainable? Because what's next after ultra fast fashion? Well, guess what people are going to do? They're going to go, I just want some art I want some art in my thing. So you know what? I'm going to buy from someone that doesn't have an Instagram page, doesn't have a thing, doesn't have that. I'm going to pay a premium for that. Because I don't want to be wearing this crap. No. I'm just saying, it's going to end up birthing other businesses that kind of mirror that with a whole different people-centric version. I don't know.
There's that industry. I haven't got any facts and figures on it, but I know it's growing, and I know it's it's very trendy. It's about the vintage clothing, etc., etc. And it makes a lot of sense in one respect from an environmental perspective. Being able to reuse stuff and etc. I just, again, going back to speed and technology and things like that, I just think that the question for me is, are we becoming so demanding that we must have this sort of thing, or are we being told and believing that we must have this sort of thing?
This is it. I don't think that I don't think the demand is there anymore. Like, we were talking about demand, I think an episode or two ago, where sports were being created, different approaches to old problems have been created, and we're just like, who's asked for this? No, you just thrown it out there, which leads me to my next. To me, this is, I'm gonna have to use this soundbite. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Yeah, what the hell is going on? That's the Isley brothers, right? Temu. Have you heard of a company? Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Have you heard of a company called Temu?
No.
Talk about the bullshit express. This
Okay.
is Shein's biggest competitor.
Wow.
And
Okay.
apparently it's all the rage, Andrew. Apparently it's all the rage.
In China or
In China, it's Chinese, right?
Right.
So we're gonna do what is Temu.
Right.
Mate, this looks like a load of crap crammed into one app, but apparently it's doing really, really well, Andrew. But
Okay.
again, how sustainable is this? My prediction is I'll bet my left nut that this company is probably not going to survive operating this way for too long. We're getting to pyramid scheme land. But anyway, let me shut the hell up, right? Let's play this.
So you see the Super Bowl commercial, decide to download the app. You'll probably be met with something like this. Spinning wheels, countdown clocks, $100 coupons, 25% off, 50% off, under 99 cents. Act now, hurry, fast. And even without those discounts,
You've got a timeline in which you can buy an item for a certain price.
Yeah.
It's like if eBay had a baby with Alibaba, which then had a baby with, oh mate, I don't know. It's like gamification of buying, and it's every piece of crap in the world.
Yes.
Yes.
start noticing things are cheap, like really cheap.
It's usually all
$19
rip-offs,
headphones,
rip-offs,
$10 designer
copies.
knockoffs, household goods for pennies on the dollar. Whoa, is that a $10 smartwatch? Let's go ahead and add that to cart.
It's really socialized extreme discounting with mega variety, gamified, and socialized in order to drive traffic, but most importantly, to build an enrolled base and get consumers to download their app.
Mate, I think it's if I'm not mistaken, it's their statement is shop like a billionaire. And let's look at the app downloads.
Opportunity to shop like a billionaire, with not one, but 2 commercial spots, totaling $14 million. The Super Bowl ad catapulted the up-and-coming shopping app into the mainstream, with app downloads jumping 45% and daily active users up 20% just one day later. By the end of the first quarter, Temu had racked up 19 million downloads in 2020.
Oh my
19
God.
million downloads, Andrew. And this is actually Shein's biggest competitor. Now, something very interesting about this. There's an owl in your house, apparently.
I don't what?
Yeah, I can hear an owl in the background. But anyway, or maybe it's a pigeon. Something that's very interesting, Andrew, is that they've actually gone through a whole different approach. So rather than offering customers speedy delivery times, they've actually gone for cheap pricing, high weight delivery times. And it turns out they've been equally successful by being transparent with customers about this. So a lot of the margins are eaten now by delivery being, if you think about Amazon's all about, if you think about Western businesses are all about giving you the item as fast as possible, quick time delivery, like you were saying earlier on. These lot are like, we tell the customer it's going to take 2 weeks. They'll be perfectly happy paying a cheaper price. So rather than putting their money into the infrastructure that gets items there quickly, it's wait longer, have cheaper prices. So they focused on price.
Well, it's going back to what you said earlier. It's about the expectation. Originally, quick delivery was a differentiator, and then all of a sudden everybody's doing quick delivery. So it no longer becomes a value add or a differentiator. You're just lost in the noise. So they've gone back and they've looked at the other end. You're not going to get quick delivery, but it's going to cost you much less.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think it's very interesting that the West went for quick delivery, high prices, and then they went low prices and thinking it's interesting how, again, it's just different ways of winning in this market. But yeah, Temu, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a very scary business to me. We're back to replicas, crap items. It's very wasteful. Andrew, who asked for this? Who asked for this?
So again, I've got a theory, and maybe I'm wrong, but the route to market for Chinese manufacturers was via distributors and resellers, etc., and bits and pieces like that. And these people would have a comeback if there was poor quality, or whatever. There'd be a comeback. because you can go back to the manufacturer, etc. Then they found another route to market, these smaller manufacturers or wholesalers in China that produce soot like this, which was eBay.
Right.
Yeah. And eBay was flooded. Yeah. And other online auction sites, because there was a few before eBay sort of bought them all out.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Customers started complaining. Yeah, customers wanted to return, and part of eBay, you've got the right to return, etc., etc. Especially, if it's not bought in auction format, which is exactly what it was.
Right.
And all of a sudden, eBay stopped, or they put certain controls in place. So then they started looking for other routes to market. Yeah, and this is one of them. This is again, is how can we do this? How can we get to the European consumer who's got the money? And this is how we can create urgency. Not urgency as in receiving goods, but urgency in having to buy it because the price is going to go up.
Well, there's that, and also another way that they're being profitable, Andrew. I didn't know this in America. Apparently, if the package is less than $80, you don't have to pay tax on it.
Correct.
So
Correct.
So they aren't paying any tax, whilst all the retailers are paying tax. They're not paying any tax at all, Andrew.
Same in the UK, mate. Same in the UK. If it's less than £30,
these are companies that aren't contributing to the economy through the tax system. They're making a killing. They're abroad. This company, if the government will wise up, the people will wise up. There's a reason why this crap is cheap, and all they're doing is draining money out of our economy and putting it elsewhere. This is a money drain, right? Like there's nothing, maybe I'm just being,
I don't know one person that's bought items in this way, not from this company, but items in this way, and that I'm talking about electronic items now. That has got it and gone, oh yeah, this was great. It's been a pile of poop. It's been an absolute pile of poop.
Absolutely, and that's the interesting thing here, right? Like we're just gonna close this one down once this advert's done. Hold on a second. Done. Now
I've got curry night.
I know you got to go in 2 minutes, but just quickly, we'll finish this retail segment and then maybe we'll just carry on with the next one after you're back, right? But let's look at this quickly just to put your point to bed.
Out here is these mega variety steep discounts. That's what brings them in. But they've married product sales with social. And they're starting by leveraging the existing social network.
Remember earlier when we said Temu's not worried about sales? It's worried about you. Marketing and e-commerce experts say it's no mistake Temu is spending so much money to aggregate a user base. Many suspect Temu is gearing up to launch social shopping here in the US, a wildly successful shopping model Pinduoduo uses in China.
Pinduoduo in China actually takes it to another level. They use group buying, where you can band together with friends and family in order to earn quantity discounts.
Imagine, so now the packages, because it's one big package, but it's split up into different people. The point is this, man, the quality of the products are shite. People are buying stuff they don't need. They're not paying the taxes in the in the economy to make it beneficial for the company to continue doing business there. I don't know. I think this type of business, its days are numbered, Andrew. And
again, I'm going back to my non-digital days, and it reminds me of exactly this. And I've fallen for it. Basically, there used to be little events going around areas, and these were sort of auction days. And you'd go there, and they advertising, TV for X, 50 quid, and blah blah blah. And basically, you go there, and the auctioneer's job was to drum up that excitement, get you to buy it, and then you'd buy. There was no inspection before you bought it. You weren't allowed to look, and I remember buying a cutlery set, gold plated, blah blah blah, and we want to get it, and spent about £60-70 on it. It was probably worth about 20 quid, at that. And this is sort of almost a digital version of that. Is like, this is the price.
This business model is as old as dirt.
Exactly.
It's if Del Boy was created into an app, basically. Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses. Like literally, it's absolute. It's interesting. I just to conclude this in a positive way. The economy does not make sense right now. Like that consumer buying, and I think its days are numbered. Like we really are in a time where, you know, there's a lot of companies that are succeeding right now that, quite frankly, I think it's a miracle that they're succeeding. But I think it's because there's a lot of desperation right now out there. I think people are just escaping through consumerism.
Yeah, amazing. That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly, because consumerism is Viagra.
It's escapism. People, you know, it's escapism, and you know, when one of the most downloaded applications in the United States ends up looking like a casino app, we know we're really going towards an area of desperation for people. And look, the good news is I think it's all going to regulate again. I think it's all going to reset. You know, I think the world goes in cycles, and I think you know, to see Morrison's, Asda, you know, we discussed that today, to see them start thinking about integrating people back into their customer service process, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I think so.
It makes sense. To see Starbucks potentially doing a U-turn and thinking about that people-centric thing of writing your name down, saying your name, all of that type of stuff, and realizing that maybe that one app isn't its only saving grace, is great news as well. To see things like Shein's, you know, success unearthing the value of designers. Oh my God, 3,000 designs a day. Oh, maybe designers are quite important in the world. Artists are quite important. And I just think it's only a matter of time till that really comes to the surface and people start valuing things again. You know, pre Second World War, we all ate organic, and you know, organic food was much more accessible. Then we started idolizing processed food, right? And now we're idolizing organic food again. There's a big premium on organic food again. We go in cycles as people. And,
I think we, you know, we're going to go back to the days where, you know, there's the TV repairman. You know, the television is not a throwaway item anymore.
Absolutely.
And what that does, it drives quality as well. You know, and things like that. Yeah, you're right. I think we will go in cycles. I think it will come to, you know, I remember, you know, you bought an article of clothing with the thought that it was an investment that was going to last you for a year at least. You know. And not something you were going to wear 3 times. And I'm a culprit. You know.
You're fiddling with your mic.
Oh, sorry. What I paid for this T-shirt. And to think, you know, who manufactured it and how much they were paid and all the other things, it frightens me. It frightens me that, you know, if I get a coffee stain on this, I'm not going to bother washing it. I'm going to throw it in a bin. Whereas before, your mum would sew it up or, you know, make sure it was washed. And we do. I think there are certain things that we do need to go back to.
And we will. I have faith in humanity. I know sometimes I can be very doom and gloom and whatnot, but I think I think the first step is talking about it. And I think once the nations, you know, people start observing these things, new business models, new better ways of doing it. I think technology has served us well, but it's now time to step it up and start weaving some of our human principles back into technology, into business.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
and I think I'm looking forward to the next one, because I think that the AI side of things is certainly something that I'd like to learn more about. I'm not sure I completely understand what it is, and you know, the benefits and pitfalls. So I'd love to hear more about that. So I'm looking forward to that. And also, we had a very interesting day today.
Yes.
Maybe we could touch on something along those lines.
We should, but we can't talk about it yet. But it's when the dust is settled on that one, it's going to be very interesting. Andrew, last question. You're going for a curry right now. Please let us know what you will be ordering.
It will be a chicken danzak. It's my go-to. It's a nice combination of spicy, sour. And you know, they don't always get it right, but you know.
Well, you know, this is the thing. If they had machines making your curry, Andrew, it would be the same each and every time. But anyway, all right, Andrew.
All right, sir. Well, enjoy. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody that you know may take the time and listen to us rabbit on. Again, any feedback would be appreciated, good, bad, or ugly. We're learning, as you've probably noticed. And I'll certainly see you soon.
All right. Take care, everyone.